the invited guests, especially members of the major and other stakeholders in the electricity and power subsector of the Nigerian economy. Would like to mention and acknowledge the presence of the Chairman, Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, who is here in person. I would like also to recognize the MD, Rural Electricity Authority, REA, who is also here with us in person. The MD TCN, the MD NEMSA, MD NELMSCO, and the Director General NAPTIN, Power Training Institute. Members of the press and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my attention is also drawn to the fact that the minister is also here, ably represented by a director from his ministry. Honorable Minister, in representation, you're welcome. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen and members of the press, permit me to also respectfully stand on any other protocol that might have escaped my attention. Mr. Speaker, right honorable members of this great committee, members of the press, let me first of all thank Allah Almighty for making it possible for us to witness the inauguration of this critical ad hoc committee on power sector reform. Your Excellency, the Speaker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Constitution and the inauguration of the ad hoc committee has become inevitable, given that despite the huge amount of financial resources by ways of interventions by government in the power sector, the impact can hardly be seen or felt by Nigerians. On behalf of the members of the ad hoc committee on power sector reform, let me also wish to use this medium to commend the leadership and the members of the House of Representatives, especially the Speaker, for finding it worthy to deploy consensuous efforts towards addressing the issues bedeviling the power sector in Nigeria. The consideration of the motion moved by Honorable Ifeanyi Chudi Moma as a matter of urgent public importance and the subsequent constitution of the ad hoc committee demonstrates enormous political will by the House of Representatives under your able leadership, Mr. Speaker, to resolve the challenge of inadequate electricity power supply in the country. I am aware that the task before this committee is indeed daunting but soluble. However, I am happy to note that the House considers us worthy to undertake this enormous assignment, and we do not take this fate lightly, and therefore promise to you, Mr. Speaker, and the entire House members, and by extension the generality of the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to serve with all our strength, with a sense of commitment, responsibility, and patriotism. Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, having served in this House of Representatives for a sustained period of time now, I am abreast with some of the major issues challenging the Nigerian electricity supply industry, NESI, often its unbundling and subsequent privatization under the Electricity Power Sector Reform Act. Some of these issues include inadequate and erratic gas supply to the generation plants, transmission limitation arising from the weak and fragile transmission infrastructure and the near collapse of the distribution network, and the controversial issue of estimated billing system arising from inadequate availabilities of meters to measure electricity consumptions by Nigerians. On this note, I have to really give the credit to the Honorable Speaker, who is right here with us, for his passion and concern about the need and the desire of the House to really address this problem of estimated billing system. Mr. Speaker, we thank you for that commitment, and this committee will also build on from where you might have directed us to continue. Ladies and gentlemen, the mandate of this critical ad hoc committee goes beyond the specifics handed over to us by the House of Representatives. It is one that seeks to right the wrongs in the electricity power sector and situates it towards ensuring stable, reliable, and uninterrupted electricity supply to Nigerians. No doubt, the gains expected from the review of the NESI Reform Act 2005 will galvanize massive industrialization that will propel national development and create jobs for teeming youth. Accordingly, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, we shall not be leaving any stone unturned in this regard. The emphasis shall bother substantially on the distribution side of the electricity supply chain and on measures to ensure adequate metering as a way to drastically reduce aggregate technical and commercial losses. This we will consider paramount in addressing much of the problems that have occasioned the huge gap between available generation capacity and actual electricity transmitted and distributed for consumptions of Nigerians. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not intend to bore you with a long speech, especially when I know the Speaker would have so many commitments to undertake this morning and in the afternoon. But what is germane and important here is that the result of our assignment ought to be qualitative enough to achieve the objective set for it. And therefore, on behalf of the members of the Ad-Hoc Committee, I wish to assure you our solemn commitment and dedication to carry out this assignment diligently, given that the growth and progress of Nigerian electricity supply industry depends on fostering sufficient legislative intervention that will enable the entrenchment of a perfect environment in the power and the electricity supply subsector of our economy. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of this committee, I wish to appreciate once again the House for finding the members of this ad hoc committee worthy to steer this assignment on behalf of the House and on behalf of the leadership of the 9th House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, I want to also once again thank you for finding time to be with us at this auspicious moment. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Good morning, and I want to thank you all for being here today. Our nation has long struggled with the problem of fixing the power sector in Nigeria and getting it to work in the optimal interest of all our people. We have not succeeded, despite the best efforts of many. The consequences of that failure are evident in the many industries that have collapsed across the country. It is also apparent in the abysmally low productivity of existing industries due to the enormous cost of generating their power independently. The power sector is so integral to our national economic growth, to national security, and even to social development that we cannot ever stop trying to get it right. It is for this reason that the House of Representatives on the 12th of May 2020 resolved to set up this ad hoc committee to undertake a holistic review of the power sector in Nigeria and to recommend legislative action to the House of Representatives. The importance of this ad hoc committee assignment is perhaps best reflected in the choice of Honorable Doguwa, the majority leader of the House, as its chairman. I say this because rarely, and it's on very rare occasions that we set up committees, whether ad hoc or standing, that we have a principal officer, not to talk about the majority leader of the House or any principal officer, chair that committee. It shows the importance, in spite of the capacity of the chairman of the Power Committee, it shows the importance we place in this particular assignment. Each member was chosen carefully and deliberately. So I have every confidence in them to fully and effectively discharge their responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, some of you may recall that the House, in our legislative agenda, proposed to initiate a comprehensive review of all legislation relating to the power sector. It now falls to this committee we have come to inaugurate today to take the first steps towards ensuring that we fulfill this commitment. It will not be an easy task. Nation building rarely is. But it will be a worthwhile effort when at the end of it, we can initiate and complete the necessary legislative reforms to remove the regulatory and bureaucratic bottlenecks that continue to mitigate against optimal performance in this sector. Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, I am confident of your ability to deliver on the critical assignment the House has appointed you to. I assure you of my support and that of the House of Representatives. Still, I must ask you to keep three things in mind. First, the complexity of the issues in the power sector are such that your success will depend a great deal on your ability to engage productively with experts and stakeholders across the Nigerian electric supply industry. Please do not be reluctant in this regard. Secondly, be assured to resist any and all attempts to compromise your work or duly influence the recommendations you make to the House. And finally, remember that success in this assignment may very well be the defining factor of both your legacies as well as the legacy of the 9th House of Representatives. Let me very quickly add, as an aside, that estimated billing remains a no-no for me and for the entire House. However we need to do it, just do it. Thank you for your service. I wish you success in your assignment. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to inaugurate this Ad-Hoc committee to the glory of God and in service of the Nigerian people. Thank you for being here today, and God bless you.